Hey guys, I'm going to give everyone a second to hop on. It is 5:30 on the dot. I'm very punctual, but I'm going to give you guys a chance. Takes a little while for the feed to come through. We have a couple questions from people in the group that I'm going to address. If people have questions as they come on, just type them in the comment section and I'll get to them. If you're watching this after it was filmed and you're not watching live, you can still post your comments in or questions in the comment box. I'll come back and check them out. If I don't answer them immediately, I'll answer them on our next Hoerner Happy Hour. So for anyone who doesn't know me or know what Hoerner Happy Hour is, if you're new to this group, we've had a lot of new people this week. I'm Kate Hoerner. I am the owner and runner of this group. I'm in here all the time, but I found that this was a little bit of an easier way to get your questions answered. So as people ask questions throughout the week, I'm always in the group answering stuff, but I found it's easier to talk it through. So every week on Thursday nights, I'm going to pop in here, what I call Hoerner Happy Hour. I'm going to take all of those questions that were asked throughout the week, and I'm going to answer them. And if you have stuff that comes up as we go, as I'm answering these questions, feel free to ask them. I'll try to get to everything as we go. So our first question came from Lynn, and she asked, what do I do if I'm out of breath trying to encourage my students? I'm pushing myself as much as I can, asking them, and I'm asking them to push as well. Does it get better the longer I do it? So that's a bunch of questions in one, so I'm going to take it one step at a time. First of all, yes, it does get better the longer you do it. This is all kind of a stamina thing. It's very hard to do a workout on a bike and also talk through it. In my mind, if you're getting a good workout, you're not able to talk during it, especially if we're above that lactate threshold. So something to think about is that, and a lot of people say this, it isn't your workout, it's your student's workout. Now, to a certain extent, that's not always true. I mean, we are getting a workout. We have to take that into consideration when we're planning our own fitness. I mean, I'm a trainer as well, and I train others. So if they're an instructor and they're teaching all the time, I have to take that into account when I'm planning whatever their program is going to look like, right? Because it is a workout to a certain extent. So I think, people that say it's not your workout at all, don't consider it your workout. You have to be a little realistic about it. You are getting a workout, especially if you're someone who teaches the majority on the bike. So if you're getting super out of breath, a couple things. One, it will take some time to get used to. Two, pay attention to how much you're actually talking. You don't need to be talking. You don't need to fill all the silence. I think that as new instructors, people tend to struggle with that silence. They feel like they need to be talking at all times. They need to be cueing. They need to be giving some sort of advice or telling people what to do every single second, and it's just not the case. There are definitely some instructors that do that, and great, good for them. Some people love that in their classes, but a lot of riders just want to come in and focus and kind of let loose and be in their own minds, and it's totally fine to give them some time to do that. So keep that in mind, especially if you're struggling to speak, struggling to breathe. Give yourself a second. Say, if you're really in a struggle and you're like, oh crap, how am I going to teach the rest of the song? You say to your riders, okay guys, I'm going to give you a minute to yourself here. I want you to focus on what you want to achieve in the rest of this song. However you want to phrase it, whether it's a hill or endurance, set them up for it. They'll get it. They'll love it. And just give them some time to themselves. The other thing is hop off the bike. Walk around the class, take a tour of your classroom. That'll give you a second to catch your breath. Even just standing up on the bike and, focusing on them, yelling out some encouraging things while they're riding. If you're not quite comfortable walking around the classroom yet, that's an option too. And last little piece of advice, I know this is a lot. You can go back and listen to this if this is too much at one time. But last little thing you can do is fake it till you make it. I guarantee you most instructors are not going as hard as they can or doing their hardest class while they're up there on the bike. They really shouldn't be, because you have to be able to teach your riders as you're up there. So when you tell everyone, on a perceived exertion scale, they should be at 7 or 8, maybe you're more like 4 or 5 and you're just kind of faking it a little bit so that they see that you're with them. But they just want to know that you're riding with them. And they want to see you working. They want to see you do what they're doing. So it doesn't have to be to the extent that they're going to do it every single song. Just stay with them and feel it, and it'll be fine. So hopefully that was helpful, Lynn. I know I gave you a lot in there. If you have any questions on any of that, definitely let me know, and we can talk about it. Our other question is from Elena, or Alona. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, so let me know. She said, I'd love some ideas on cool down stretches. I know it is super important to stretch the hip flexor, but any other advice, input, specific stretches would be much appreciated. I try to fit it all in one track, but I usually do two if anyone wants to stick around, because I think it's important and I do enjoy stretches. Yes, I love that. I actually, I tell my riders as soon as we go into stretching that they've earned it. So they should allow themselves that time to cool down, as if it's kind of like the reward for the class that they did. You know, especially in morning classes, people just want to get out of there and get to work. So it's hard to get people to stick around. So we do have to keep it relatively short. And, you know, to be honest, often it's not enough if you're in a 45 or 60-minute class to do a full cool down. So I do also always encourage my riders to take some time to themselves after class to do some more stretching. Some basic things you just want to think about when you're setting up what stretches to do. The upper body stretches you can keep to a minimum. We're not really working our upper body, even if you're doing moves on the bike. It's really not, you know, it's not like you're doing heavy strength training with your arms. So that you can keep to a minimum. I also say that because people tend to go straight into upper body stretches as soon as you finish. And if people are breathing heavy and you tell them to stretch their arm out, it's going to restrict that breathing and it's going to take away from their cool down. So just keep that in mind. Keep those upper body stretches to a minimum, neck, shoulders, you know, the basics. And then I usually go into a calf stretch on the bike. So not everyone wants to stretch on the bike. I totally get that. I've never found an issue with anyone or any of my riders. So I stand up on the pedal, I hold onto the handlebars, we push down on our heels, and we get that calf stretch as you push your hips back towards the saddle. So that one's always great. I rotate the pedals to switch legs. People love that one. It usually feels really good too. The other things you want to make sure you stretch once you get off the bike, your biggest muscles that you use in spinning are your quads, your hamstrings, and your glutes. So you want to do some stretches, even if it's just one for each of those. Make sure you hit that. So lift one leg up behind you and stretch out the quad. Simple, easy. Everyone knows how to do that. I then usually kick my foot over the opposite knee, as I say, and we go into a figure four stretch to stretch the piriformis. If you know what figure four is, just Google it. You'll see tons of pictures. That's usually good for the glutes and the piriformis. And you can do a hamstring stretch if you want to put your foot up on the bike. That's an option, and kind of keep the leg straight and bend forward. You could do it on the seat, handlebars, or the middle of the bike, whatever you're comfortable with. I don't usually do that. I usually do other kinds of hamstring stretches just because it makes me a little nervous when everyone's so tight. Our room is very tight with the bike, so there's not a lot of room to do that. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about the stretches. And another thing, before you stretch, always tell people which side of the bike to get off on. I usually say to get off on the left, depends on the room you're working with, but that way not everyone's coming into each other's space as they're trying to finish up their stretching. So hopefully that gives you some ideas, Lane. If there's anything specific you want a stretch for, just let me know. I was actually going to get up and try and show you some, but I don't really have enough space here. So if you need that, I will do it. Just let me know. Okay, let me check the comments here. Stephanie Mosher says, how do you get people interested in trying spin classes? I want to fill my classes. My biggest suggestion would be, well, two, I guess. If there are local businesses near your studio or your gym, you could make like little flyers. I would ask your manager if they're okay with this, but maybe have like a themed ride or something, make little flyers for them and pass them around. Oftentimes people just don't even know, one, they don't know classes like these exist, and two, they don't know what the heck spinning is. So it's a lot of education. I'm still surprised by how confused people are when I say spin or cycling. I'm constantly correcting them that not all cycling is spinning, and it's a lot of education. I mean, think of how much you've learned about it. So, tell people about it, but also educate them on it. And then the other big thing for marketing your classes is social media. Everyone is on social media now. If you're not, you have to be. If you want to be sharing about your classes, if your classes aren't full, it's a great way to do it. Instagram, you could do Instagram stories or Facebook stories. You could post on Facebook or Instagram. You could post on even Twitter, if you're on Twitter, all these things. There's different groups of people everywhere. So depending on what your area is like, if you're in an office area and there's a lot of employees around you, maybe you could go even on LinkedIn and post there. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but get creative with it. I would say online marketing is your best tool. You can do the flyers and the in-person stuff, but really just the place to do it is, I would say, Instagram is probably your best bet. So give that a try. Show videos of your classes, show videos of your students, show videos of yourself doing a workout. That really gets people interested. They want to get to know you, and they want to feel safe when they come to your class, especially if it's their first time. So give that a shot. Try and get comfortable with it. It takes some time. Not everyone's used to or likes posting on social media. I know it takes a long time to get used to. I have an online business and I still get uncomfortable with certain things, but if we want to get people to know us in this digital world that we live in, we have to get comfortable with the fact that that's where we're at now, and we have to share online if we want people to come to us and get to know us. So thanks for that question, Stephanie. That was great. Does anybody else have any other questions for tonight? If you can't think of them right now or you don't feel like posting them, you could either DM me or we'll talk about it next week on the next Hoerner Happy Hour. But if you have anything else, let me know in the next few minutes. And if you guys are newer instructors and you're really struggling and you just need some help, I do coach instructors. That's what I'm here for. I mean, this group is all free, of course, and this is a ton of free information, guys. But if you do need help, extra help, DM me and we can work something out. I'm really loving helping instructors. It's so fun, and it's shocking how much people don't know that can make their lives easier. So let me know on that. And I think that's all I have for you. So I'm going to go cook some dinner. I see my oven smoking in the background. So don't worry. It's just, it's cleaning. Don't worry. Okay, guys. Well, have a great rest of your night, and I'll catch you next week on the next Hoerner Happy Hour. Night.